Hello and welcome to episode 81 of the RetroSlot podcast. We got a ton of good news. We got a cool game to talk about. There may be a cherry picker boom arm that comes right through my window and takes me out, which is capital C content. Right? The death of Briar Rabbit live on the RetroSlot.
Don't joke about that.
You may hear some chainsawing. You may hear some what is it when they put the sticks
unrelated to the trees
into
unrelated
the grinder?
to the trees.
Yeah, you know, little competitive chainsawing going on in
Jason Voorhees was just in the background.
That's right. We're reenacting, a couple of horror films in the other room. It's gonna be a good time. But yeah, it's been like 3 months to get these guys to come to the house. They're finally here. They showed
on
up.
The day.
They're supposed to be here at 7 a.m. It is currently 7 p.m. They showed up 5 p.m. So
is that an A or a P? It's whatever.
I'm certainly not going to kick them out so I can do the podcast, but I'm certainly, we did miss last episode, so I didn't want to postpone another episode.
You feeling better?
Yeah, I guess so.
He's ready for summer for those that are listening.
That's right.
He's very, what's the word?
Pruned,
sleek, and aerodynamic right now. Looking.
That's right.
I've
been doing some golfing, which has been nice. We finally got some like hot weather here. Been doing some yard work, which is not as much fun as golfing.
You could take you know what you should do? Take an iron out.
Yeah.
To the yard and just, act like you're practicing and just take down the weeds and grass.
Oh, I thought you meant like press the lawn to make it flat.
No, like you're whacking away with your golf club on the grass. You're practicing golf.
Do you know how much golf clubs cost?
I don't know.
In this economy, Jay?
At least $2.
I did take out when I moved into this house, there was this huge bed of blackberries. Huge. By huge, I mean 20 feet long by probably 10 feet wide. Just blackberries, but it was all overgrown, right? You couldn't even get into the middle of it to pick the blackberries. All you could do was get to the edges of it, and there's weeds and just junk all over the place. So last summer was the year I decided it's got to go, right? It's just unsightly. Nobody's going out there picking blackberries
until next year. Yeah.
Right? What is this? The Great Depression? We're out there like filling our shirts full of blackberries. Look, nobody wants these blackberries. What we do want is maintenance-free lawn.
Nobody wants these blackberries as Briar goes to the store and buys the prepackaged like.
That's right.
Don't make me pick them.
Totally, 100%. My buddy, I had to go over there and help him dig out rooms because he needed to put like a gravel bed for his chicken coop. He's getting a chicken coop. I said, "What are you doing? Why would you do that? They sell eggs at the grocery store and they're dirt cheap. They're so cheap. You're gonna have chickens running around your yard." I don't get it. Anyhow, if you hear any chainsawing, they're out there chainsawing. Jay, I made you a promise last episode. You told me, which I assume is lies, that peeps are your favorite Easter candy.
Stale peeps.
These peeps were ordered off of Amazon approximately 4 weeks ago. And you might be able to see that.
No, you have to open. Okay, so tell me if they're dense when you press them.
They're harder than they were when they arrived, and the closer you get to the hole in the packaging, the harder they are.
Okay, so eat the ones close to the hole. Got it. Yeah. Hey. So finish your thought. Yes, 4 weeks ago.
So 4 weeks ago, I made you a promise I would order the peeps, which I did, and I would eat them. I would open the package and then eat them. Are you saying these are not stale enough yet? Is that what you're saying?
Normally I slice like above. It's fine.
I
Try the ones closest to the hole.
I was afraid to open it like all the way and just like leave it out. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
ants.
it's
It's fine. It's
food.
part of the experience.
It's where you get your protein.
Yeah. They're nutritious now.
So now I must say, I still really haven't forgiven you for the jelly bean incident of 2023.
That was for the kids, Briar. This is just because you're a masochist. There's a difference.
All right, so just to test this out, it is still like marshmallowy.
No, that's not stale enough.
Not stale enough? All right, I'm putting it
No.
off. You're gonna have to wait till next episode then. I'm not gonna eat a peep that's not ready.
Actually, you know what? We need a before and an after.
Oh shit. I thought I was dodging the peep. There was hope. There was
No,
hope.
now you need to eat 2 of them.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I don't really like marshmallow. My wife got Rocky Road ice cream a while ago. I was like, I don't like this. It's got marshmallows in it.
It's the peanuts more than anything.
I like peanuts.
In ice cream?
I'd rather if you buttered them, honestly. A little bit of peanut butter.
Like butter
ice cream.
pecan or something?
No, just butter. Peanut butter.
Oh, peanut butter. That's peanut. Okay, you were going for the peanut butter. I get it.
Yeah.
Not buttered peanuts.
No, I'm saying you got to
thinking about,
butter
like,
the peanuts.
Putting butter
You
on
got to turn them into butter. How do you think peanuts are buttered?
It's oil. Yeah, I mean, it's not.
That was
quite
provocative.
That
I don't know
close.
who's out there putting butter on peanuts, but it is provocative.
Peanut butter. Come on, literally in the name.
Butter that peanut boy.
Oi.
All right,
I
I'm gonna
needed
try this
this.
peep real quick, and then we can
All right,
talk about
before.
something more important than Easter candy. I mean, you can't even get these anymore. This is like a collector's item.
Yeah, those are way too soft.
Yeah, this is low tier candy, if you could even call it candy. This is marshmallow with like sugar around it.
It's like what, the cotton candy flavor, the blue one.
There's different flavors. I just thought they were different colors. Doesn't
Well, the base ones are pretty much all the same, but there are actually flavored ones. Yeah.
now. Good news. It is gluten and fat free.
It's literally
So-
100% sugar.
Practically healthy.
So you got the before.
Yeah, it's a marshmallow. It's marshmallow with like candied sugar on the outside. It'd be better if it was on a stick and in a fire.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you could do that with peeps too.
Another provocative statement made tonight.
Well, that's why some people do like the microwave thing with peeps,
yeah.
because it like blows them up and then they come down, and so they're a little bit like, the way to describe them, they're not they're more chewy, but not like dense chewy, but they're like the sugar has melted together chewy, if that makes sense. It's hard to describe.
What are your feelings on
After-
fluff?
They actually get smaller. It's weird.
That's probably a good
'Cause they-
thing as far as I'm
it-
concerned.
It like shrivels up. It's like the
The better.
peeps went into a cold pool or something. I don't know. After the microwave, they shrivel up. They get smaller.
What's your stance on fluff?
It's they use that in like fudge.
They use fluff
What?
and fudge?
A lot of like homemade fudge often has like marshmallow fluff in it.
Really?
I mean, I like Rice Krispie treats. That's essentially fluff.
Yeah, I
You
guess
like
it
Rice
is.
Krispie- Yeah.
I never put that together.
But I've never growing up I was never like a fluff peanut, like a fluffer
No.
nutter.
My
sandwich
mother's
kind
a
of
huge
guy.
fan. I'm
Yeah.
just like, I look at it, I'm like, that's
It's too much.
just a waste of a peanut butter sandwich. Like you've just fucked up that sandwich.
I mean, if you dip stuff in the fluff, like, I don't know, like a Reese's cup or something, maybe I could
Yeah.
see it. But
Ugh, that's just
that's
ruining
so
a
much
Reese's cup.
sugar. I don't know.
It never occurred to me that they were part of the Reese's, or not the Rice Krispie treats.
Yeah.
Of course, that makes so much sense now. Are Rice Krispie treats baked, or are they just like you
Nope.
just mix that fluff in Rice Krispie and you're done?
Butter. You melt the butter first.
Oh.
Some say you brown the butter a little bit, and then you put the
brown that
marshmallows in.
butter.
Yeah, You get I've done it a lot recently because I have little kids. So, and I ate like 90% of them is fine because my kids
Well
don't love
done.
them.
Well
They'll
done,
eat
Dad.
like the fresh ones and then they never want it. They'd rather have ice cream or whatever. Fine. And then you put the marshmallows in, you let it melt completely, and then you take it off the heat, and then you put the Rice Krispies or whatever other cereal you want, Cocoa Pebbles, and you mix it all together. You put it in the pan, you let it cool. I put flaked sea salt on top.
Oh,
It is money.
wow.
That little bit of kick.
I
Oh, it's
like
so
that
good.
for you. That sounds good.
Yes. Hmm.
My
You've
wife,
never
I don't know if
tried.
my wife ever has made Rice Krispie treats, and I wonder if the only Rice Krispie treats my kids have ever had are the ones that you buy at the store, like prepackaged, like the bars, which
They
aren't as good.
do. They're okay, but
They're
like
okay.
homemade,
Homemade is
fresh.
better.
Yeah, I usually do a little less butter than it says because sometimes they're too greasy.
Hmm.
Um, and sometimes I do a little bit less marshmallow than it says because you don't want 'em, like, too much marshmallow. I don't know. I like a good balance.
Okay.
I don't know. And then I put other cereal, and sometimes you can put, like, if you put, like, Heath toffee bits in there to give a little crunch,
Ooh.
some, uh, the flaked sea salt. You know what I'm talking about? That, like, that puffed up, airy
Oh
sea
yeah.
salt that has that, like, oh, so good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's good on everything.
Oh, yeah. I bought a box of that from Amazon for like $8 and we're still
Oh.
working on it. Good stuff.
So Jay, we got some news to talk about this week. Got some
Do you
pretty
wanna
interesting news. I'm actually pretty excited about some of it.
just real quick, I put this on here late because I went to St. Jude this last week.
Oh, yeah.
Discussion topic. I put it on there late. It's fine. And then we'll jump into the news. Got back on Friday night late. It was like midnight by the time I got home. Um, Briar, were you like me where if you go to an event or something like that, you stay out really late every night or do you crash early?
It's the best part of going to the event is this
Yeah.
staying out drinking beer. Isn't that how we met, Jay? Didn't you already know the answer to this question,
Well,
Jay?
when you went to St. Jude, there was a lot more free time.
Was there?
Oh yeah. There was like chunks of 3 or 4 hours during the middle of the day that were just kind of free to do whatever you want that were unscheduled.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like that anymore.
Mm.
They cut a day off. So it's like you arrive on what, Tuesday, leave on Friday. So Wednesday, Thursday are the full days, and then Friday you're leaving. So it's like 2 full days and then the dinner the night before. It used to be 3 full days. And so basically, for anybody who doesn't know, the St. Jude Play Live Summit is like it's a two-part thing. One, it's kind of like a celebration for all the good that everybody has done, and the second part is to kind of reinvigorate everybody into the mission and like teach or tell them what's happening at the hospital, like bring in former patients, like stories, all sorts of stuff. Because the St. Jude Play Live campaign is going right now until the end of May, so they're kind of trying to get everybody inspired to fundraise and stuff again this year. And it was my fourth year going this year. Quite a bit different. You can't really like tour the hospital or anything anymore post COVID. That was one of the best things
Oh, really?
in
You
my
can't
opinion.
anymore?
Yeah. No, it's all like it's like
That makes sense.
programming and stuff. We stayed at the Peabody Hotel, which we have not done that in years past, and I haven't stayed there since I was a kid. It's supposed to be this like upscale, swanky, expensive hotel. Like the lobby was cool, the food was really good, but the actual hotel rooms were kind of subpar. Like my shower was clogged, so I had standing water like every day.
Ew.
I mean,
Hotel
it's an
standing
older
water, not good.
it's an older hotel. Like I didn't say anything because I was like, I don't want to move all my stuff and
At
or whatever.
home
So I just go
standing
with it.
water, at least it's your funk. But hotel standing water is like
Hopefully,
community funk.
hopefully, but they have like scheduled programming during the day for us, and we got to like tour the hospital and stuff. More towards the outside, we got to go in and see like the science rooms, and they showed us like these cool microscopes that nobody else in the world has, and all this cool stuff. And then after hours, your boy JSniperton,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
My boy.
it was oh my god. So I got later and later. So the first night I was out till 4 a.m.
Ooh,
Second
boy.
night, and so I was out till 4 a.m. and the programming started at 7:30. So I got there at 8:30. No, it was like so they do like 7:30 to 9 was breakfast basically.
Okay,
So I
okay.
would get there at like
Yeah,
8:30. You know, cuz like that first hour is just kind of like winding up. It's kind of like just like
sure.
good morning. Uh so yeah, so I went to bed at 4. Second morning, I went to bed at 4:30. Programming started at 10. So it was like 8:30 to 10 was breakfast. And then the next day I went to bed at like 5. No, 4, 4:30 and 6:30.
How you doing, big guy?
Oh,
You
4,
still hungover?
4:35, 6:30 before the flight, that's what it was. It was 6:30 after the last day of programming before the flight stuff. Because I didn't have to fly out till, like, 4:30 in the afternoon,
Yeah.
so we were out late. I didn't drink too much, to be honest, like,
Oh, okay. You're
you know,
just
I
out,
paced myself. I mean, I had
just
beverages,
having fun.
but, like, I was, like, 1 every hour and a half or something like that, nothing crazy. Um, but yeah, it was fun. It was good, good times.
One time I was doing that. We were at uh, Guardian Con, and DCP booked a bar to have a meetup
Mhm.
at, and this bar had this really cool feature where there were no bartenders. It was taps on the wall, and you served yourself.
Oh, no.
Uh,
You just, like, scan your card and then
yeah, yeah, it was one of
oh
those. You
my
just,
gosh.
and I was
I've
just,
never seen that.
look, I can get a little loud when I get drunk. Now, this may come to a shock to the listeners of this podcast, but I can get a little loud when I get drunk.
Really?
Yeah. I was like holding court at these taps for probably, I don't know, 4 hours. My
Ugh.
wife was there. At one point, I was convinced that some other dude was like hitting on my wife, and I had to put a stop to it. I got home from the bar. I don't know what time. My wife went home way earlier than I did because she's an adult.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got home so late. We had a whole day planned out where we were supposed to go to the beach down in Florida and have a great time. I wasn't getting out of that hotel. There's no way. I couldn't leave that hotel. It was terrible. It was awful. I feel you, Jay. I don't feel like we're
I
kids
miss hanging
anymore.
out. I miss hanging out with Briar in person. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'm down for that. You just gotta come out here.
Where do you live again?
A faraway land called
Yeah.
Connecticut.
Oh, there's nothing to do there.
There's PAX East. That just happened.
Portland/Seattle has PAX West and the Portland Retro Game Expo.
I know, but it's so far away. Anyway, let's talk about the news. Are we done with St. Jude, or you want to talk anything about St. Jude?
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good times.
All right. Talk about our mighty overlords, Apple, who are definitely listening. You should be careful what you say.
It's funny. I actually got into a conversation about Apple's UI UX and how it's not good.
Uh-huh.
And initially the argument was it is good. I'm like, no, you're just the design is good, but it's not good usability. Anyway, so we ended up agreeing. You know, Tej, Big Daddy Tej.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he likes form over function, and I like function over form.
Uh,
So
I like
made a lot of
both. I
sense.
like a gorgeous blend of both.
I
And
mean,
when
like,
they
you
only
don't
do
want it to
one
look
right,
like garbage.
right? When they only do one right, I feel like you either get like a Toyota or a Mercedes. I want, I want something in the middle that's beautiful but also well designed.
Yeah. So how long has it been? But they finally are allowing emulators
Yes.
on the App Store
Yes. This
for
is
totally
great news.
legal things to be put on the App Store, like
Look,
homebrew things.
emulators in and of themselves are not illegal.
All right,
Where you get the
Napster.
ROMs, like that's a pretty gray area. And it's like, it's kind of weird because nobody wants to sue anybody because nobody wants like a definition of is this legal or not, because it could swing either way and somebody's going to take it pretty hard. But it's pretty cool that Apple is allowing this. I think this comes from that EU, European Union lawsuit, or decision where they have to open up like multiple app stores, like third-party app stores, to allow other people to develop things for the iPhone that aren't approved by Apple. And this
Mhm.
is coming to America because they're proactively saying, well, what do people want these other app stores for? Maybe we should allow that stuff into the app store so we don't have to let these other app stores in America, because our government is also now looking at both Apple and Google as far as uh, 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 monopolistic activities, which,
Sure.
I mean, good Lord, that's definitely happening.
No, Briar, no. No, what do you mean? Never ever would that ever be
I mean,
happening.
Microsoft probably.
Ugh. As we're holding our iPhones up to our mouth.
Right. I mean, how can you even get by without a cell phone? I think they're more important than computers at this point.
Yeah.
You know, like it's incredible. But hey, this is great. Like being able to do this, and like there's a bunch of accessories that are starting to be made. I saw a MagSafe charger that has like an NES pad attached to it, which is kind of neat.
Nice.
There's
I mean,
already
they've had those
controllers.
for years for Android and such, so
Yeah, there's already controllers and stuff that you can get, but also, you know, for a lot of games, you can just play with like the buttons, you know, those like on-screen buttons for like I
yeah.
wouldn't want to play like a Mega Man game, but like I don't know, like a slower game, like what was that that kind of like mystery puzzle game that we played
Oh, like
many moons
Shadowgate
ago?
or
Yeah,
something?
Shadowgate, something like that would be perfect
Sure.
on the phone, right? I'm into it. I'd probably rather
Yeah.
play it on the Switch where I have buttons, but hey, my iPhone's in my pocket 90% of the time.
I mean, what are the chances that Nintendo comes out with another micro style handheld
I think there's
that
definitely going
has
to be a Switch too.
right, but I mean something that's teeny tiny that's only digital,
Like what? Like the DS?
smaller.
Like the Game Boy Micro?
Yes.
I mean, they made those little Zelda and Mario micro Game and Watch things.
Yeah. I
Maybe
mean,
something
with
along
like
those
I'm thinking
lines.
smaller. Yeah.
Smaller than that,
I mean
like
the
an
mic
actual watch size kind of thing.
I mean the micros are tiny.
Yeah,
Micros smaller than a like an NES controller.
so small.
It's so small.
So
That's
small.
it's
I looked at that thing. I'm like, that is not for me, Mr. Oven Mitt Hands.
oven mitt hands. But to tack on to the Apple emulator story, there's an emulator that like was on the App Store and then almost immediately taken off by themselves because they're like, I can't risk it. It's too stressful, so they took it off.
Wasn't that like that was a problem with, they didn't design the emulator. They were using open source software, and they did not follow the exact letter of the law for the open source agreement, so they took it back off. And the guy who actually created the emulator, they were all in communication. I think it was pretty amiable, if I'm thinking of the right situation. Is
The
that the one you're talking about?
Bimmy, the Bimmy NES emulator. Is that what you're talking about?
Bad with names. But yeah, I think that might have been it. I think it was pretty amicable. I think it was just a mistake of like, do we have the correct license to do this? No, we don't.
Sure,
We're gonna take it down.
sure. I thought it was kind of funny as a follow up to to that
Yeah,
though.
yeah. I think the headlines all say it's already gone. Like, what's going on?
Yeah,
But actually, it's not. It's not as much fun as something as a headline could have put it.
I
Jay,
just
tell me
realized.
how the best NES game of all time is now worth $90,000, and please tell me that my copy is about to make me a rich man.
Totally. So a first print Castlevania. So for those who don't know, first print is the one with the circle seal, the black circle seal on the front. I'm not sure if there's other stuff too. Probably. Oh, the hang tab on the back and whatnot. A first print just sold for $90,000.
90 grand.
And I'm trying to remember if it was like 80K plus buyer premium or what it was, but Either way, so and this goes into the follow-up story. Actually, I like brought up the follow-up story into it. So not very many of these have sold. First of all, in this condition, this is ungraded, sold for 90K. So you whoever bought this commented that they think it's worth 250,000 once it gets graded. So it's one of those things where, like one or two grades can make a huge difference as to the value, the perceived value of something like this. So whoever bought it thinks they got a deal, which is really interesting to me. But I think it's the highest raw game to ever sell, if I'm correct or close to, that's ungraded. And this is part of an estate that the follow-up story is titled on time extension Legendary Hall of Retro Games worth hundreds of thousands sold with no knowledge of their value. So basically these brothers were in the Dallas Fort Worth area, were collectors since the 80s. They were well into their 60s and they passed away. I
In their
don't know the
60s.
details.
That's too soon.
Yeah, I know, right? I don't know the details of that, but a bunch of these games, 90% of which apparently are sealed,
Wow.
uh, got bought by just one person who didn't even know what they were worth because he had originally listed something for like $500 buy it now before listing it to an auction. It might have been Castlevania, actually. Like, didn't even know the full value of this stuff when they bought it, which I get incredibly FOMO. I get a lot of FOMO when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like, oh man, if I had only lived in Texas, or whatever, like had even any kind of inkling of a chance for this kind of thing.
Right.
Um, but it's pretty wild. I'm sure we'll be hearing more about this collection. But
Yeah.
like the estate isn't even benefiting from this, which is a little sad. I would
Yeah.
hope that there'd be some kind of um
Now, I thought when you do an estate sale, don't you usually get somebody to come in and like run it for you? I guess I don't know much about
sometimes.
that.
I mean, there's still in some circles this perception that video games aren't worth anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
I suppose you're right.
relatively speaking. Um, even if somebody sold that game, like I bought a few sealed games years ago for like $100 that were worth over a grand kind of thing. You
Oh
know,
wow.
they get offers on stuff and they're just like, "Oh yeah, that sounds good." They don't take the time to fully research every single item because that would
Yeah.
just time-wise not make sense. So, it's just wild to me
Right.
to
Not
think about
everybody's
this
reading
kind of stuff.
Kotaku articles about like Super Mario Brothers
Right.
going for like $1 million, you know?
Sure.
So they see a bunch of video games, they're like, ah, Tommy, always playing these goddamn video games. Get him out of here.
Right.
This
And
is what's gonna
I
happen to
have
all our shit, right?
I was about to say, like, this is gonna happen more and more as the millennials grow out of their
That's it.
collections,
I'm
i.e.
selling my
me.
shit today. I'm gonna enjoy my money while I can. I'm gonna
Prove it.
buy a fucking Ferrari and I'm gonna crash that thing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna survive though.
buy depreciating assets instead of appreciating assets. That's the plan.
I can't take it with me. What does it matter if I have a crashed Ferrari or a fucking bunch of video games?
But yeah, at the bottom of this article on time extension, it says, as Chris Kohler neatly puts it, sell your shit before you die.
Yeah, because your kids don't want to do it.
Yeah, this is speaking directly to me, but hopefully I have at
Yeah,
least a few years to deal with it.
yeah, to enjoy it, right?
Hey, my collection's nowhere near the universe that this collection lives in, but it's still,
Yeah,
you know, most people see
or
the
at least
number
tell
of
your
my
kids how to
collection.
get rid of it easily, right? Tell them to bring it to a specific spot where they can at least get some money for it. You know?
You ever heard of eBay, son?
Yeah, that's a lot of work, though.
Yeah,
That's a lot of work.
maybe eventually they'll start liking it. Who knows?
Uh,
Because they
Let's
sure as
hope
shit don't now.
they got their own shit going on, Jay.
Yeah. Retro video games worth a whole bunch of money? Nah, I'm good with
Dude,
Minecraft. Thanks, Dad.
you're streaming their retro video games, Jay.
Don't yell at me, Briar. Cheese and crackers. I have to stream first.
That's right.
Uh,
Their retro video games are the shit we're playing right now.
did They're like in their 40s. You remember Minecraft?
Right? Remember that game Destiny?
We're gonna be in our 80s.
Let's hope.
That franchise is
hope.
still gonna be around.
Destiny or Minecraft?
Destiny.
We'll see.
Cade's gonna be dead. And
I
come
just
back
like
10
that
times.
that Castlevania is getting the respect it deserves. That's
Sure.
that's the only thing about this I like. I don't like the fact that these guys died and the collection got sold off for pennies on the dollar. But I am super happy to see Castlevania finally getting the respect it deserves. One of the first games we reviewed on this show.
Put some spec on that name.
That's right.
A lot of Nintendo today. So, what is it? A service called Pretendo
Yeah.
offers an online Wii U experience one day after Nintendo discontinues the official service.
What's that mean? Like you can download games off of it?
I'm not sure if it's downloadable games, but it's more like playing online. I believe.
So it's like replaces the online service?
Mm-hmm.
What is?
But I believe you have to have, if I remember correctly, I wrote this news down 2 weeks ago. I think you have to have a modded. Yeah, you have to have a homebrew firmware on modded console. To run
well, I mean, if you can't get it online anyway, why not mod it, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I wonder
What's
how
Nintendo gonna do?
I wonder
Come
how hard a
after you?
Wii U is to mod.
Next episode, litigation for app developer Pretendo.
Oh, it shouldn't be. It depends. You know, remember we had that news story come through a while ago that you got to plug that Wii U in every once in a while to make sure that it doesn't like lose its like internal capacitance.
Right.
Otherwise, it'll just like brick on you. I do believe that there are some modders out there who have fixed that, which is good news.
Yes, we've covered that.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
But still, I'd rather just plug that thing in once in a while than have to get a $200 mod kit, you know?
That's how I feel about myself too. I got to plug myself in once in a while to feel alive. Yeah.
I feel like that with sunshine. I just need to like feel sunshine on my skin once in a while so I still feel alive. I'm not just like a human ATM for my family.
You could feel like a human ATM for your friends too. Hey, Briar. It's fine. Keanu Reeves is joining the cast of Sonic 3.
Yeah. Best news for Sonic fans ever.
I feel like it's pretty accurate. Because if you watch any of the old cartoons, he has that kind of whispery, calm demeanor, and
he's a cool emu boy, just like Keanu himself.
Emo.
Keanu emu.
Just picturing an emu walking around with long hair now.
Emu.
So actually, it's funny because I currently have, I believe, 4 copies of this game in my possession for no particular reason. It's like it's going up in value right now. Shadow the Hedgehog for GameCube
because the movie's coming out. You think?
I don't know. Maybe there's also the Knuckles TV show on Paramount Plus right now or whatever. That's
not his first appearance in a Sonic game though. He was in Sonic games before the GameCube, right?
Shadow?
Yeah.
He wasn't in Sonic and Knuckles, was he?
Was he possibly the bad guy or something? I don't know. I'm not that big a Sonic fan, but I feel like he was around before the GameCube. But I could be completely off base there. We're gonna have to deep dive into our Shadow the Hedgehog. Well, they got a movie coming out, so now I can just watch the movie.
Yeah, at the end of the year.
Solved.
So what they have Keanu Reeves, Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey's coming back.
Yep, he is.
Wow,
we confirmed
this
that
is his
last
third
episode,
movie, right? Oh,
correct. Briar's it's fine. Goldfish.
That was a long time ago.
There's another. Who's the other? James Marsden.
Who played Knuckles? What's his name?
Oh, Idris Elba.
Damn, they all-star cast
for
for
real.
fucking Sonic games. What is going on over there?
Yeah, great. Sign me up.
I hope Streets of Rage, the movie, is going to be as well done.
Have we learned about the cast yet? First,
no, I don't think so.
No,
I don't really follow such things, but
I wanted to be like a Batman Beyond, or what was that movie? The Batman Begins, the remake.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. So if they do that kind of treatment, like the dark, gritty Streets of Rage, I'd be in for that.
Yeah, they could do that, or they could do like Super Troopers.
Oh my! The college humor version of Street
Yeah,
Fighter. Do you remember that?
or have you ever? Yeah, that was good actually. Have you ever seen Tucker and Dale versus Evil?
I I've heard of it. I have not seen.
It's a great movie where it's kind of like it reverses like the viewpoint of a horror movie where the two like weird kind of rednecks in the woods that would normally be like threatening and like stalking the college kids that went for to a cabin in the woods. They're kind of you see the story from their perspective. They're just out there having a fishing trip and all this stuff that starts going wrong and these kids start dying all around them. Like you do something like that with Streets of Rage where like I don't know, Mr. Big is up in his tower just trying to like help the city out, and these fucking vigilantes just start climbing this tower, tearing the place apart.
Like the opposite of Die Hard.
Yeah, yeah. Like, what if John McClane was the bad guy?
Christmas.
This is a cool little story here. Stone Age Gamer just opened up pre-orders for a plug-and-play adapter for the Dreamcast, which will allow you to use basically any Bluetooth controller on the Dreamcast, which is really neat. This thing's been lag tested. It's got pretty low latency at about 7 milliseconds, which is basically imperceptible to a normal human. And allows you to use things like the PlayStation 5 controllers, these 8-bit do controllers that I'm very fond of these Pro 2 controllers. Have you used one of these?
Not that one specifically, no. That looks kind of like a PlayStation controller.
Very much like a PlayStation controller. Even has those little buttons on the back, like rear buttons.
Oh, sure.
And they cost like $45. They're great. They're great controllers. I use them for a PC. I have several of them. I use them for Steam Deck, PC. I use them for my Switch. I use them all over the place. They're really good.
Why on earth would you want to use a different controller on the Dreamcast? The Dreamcast
controller
is the best
ain't great.
controller ever created.
I don't know who's saying that. That's not a hot take that I want to get on board with. I hate that for you.
No, I don't think I've ever actually used. No, I probably have. They're like the Duke controller for the Xbox. Those giant.
I think there's legitimate fans of the Duke controller.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There are like the oven mitted among us. But the Dreamcast controller was very small. My knuckles you gotta kind of cram them in there. Like it wasn't very comfortable. The thumbstick was just made out of hard plastic. Like it didn't have like rubber on it. It didn't have 6 buttons across, so it wasn't great for fighting games. The D-pad was the worst D-pad Sega's ever made on a console. Like it wasn't. I don't like it. I don't like that controller. It was pretty cool at the time because like 3D gaming was so new, and the Dreamcast just had some amazing 3D games. So it didn't bug me at the time, but looking back on it, it was it was a first attempt, and it was later. It was the basis for the Xbox controller, and we're still basically working
Iterating
off
on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not. It was at the time. It was okay. I don't think it aged super well, and I'm happy to play Dreamcast games on a different controller.
That's fair. I'll hook up my N64 controller then to the Dreamcast. I'm sure that'll be an improvement. N64.
I think that would probably work. If you have the Nintendo Switch Online N64 controller, I'll bet you could do it. Because it's Bluetooth, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Done.
I'm into it.
Briar's.
Sorry, I'm not sure if I heard the guys knock at the door, but I'm just gonna keep going. There's other people.
I heard the dog bark.
Yeah, me
I heard
too.
the dog bark.
This one is awesome. Okay, the NES Slot Master 72-pin replacement is up for pre-order. Jay, I have ordered this. I ordered it from I believe Laser Bear Industries. I'm gonna just follow the link here. So this is exactly what it sounds. You know, the 72 pin slot on a
Mm-hmm.
front loading NES. You know, you push your cartridge in. Well, I'm sorry. First, let's go through the whole process. You blow into the cartridge, you get all that spit on the pins. Then you slide it in.
Corrosion.
Then you
Yeah, it's
push it
great.
down. Then you hit the power button. Then you see a blank screen and a flashing red LED on the front of your NES. And
Mm-hmm.
you hit the cartridge and pop it back out. You pull the thing out. You blow on it again. Put it back in. Push it down. Hit the power button. Still nothing. Push it down. Pull it out. Then you go get some isopropyl alcohol. Actually try and clean this thing up. Put it back in. Nope. Take it back out. Now we're just gonna take all the screws off of this cartridge and really get in there and clean it. You know what I'm talking about. These slots stink. Even the replacement ones you get are like these cheap Chinese things that I think they cost like a few dollars. Come on, you know, that come from China somewhere. Apparently, this is a more robust connector being made over at Laser Bear Industries. It's a little more expensive. It's about $25 for the kit. You can also get like a pre-assembled one that's basically a drop-in replacement for $35 plus shipping. If you pre-order it from, I got like $1.30 discount for pre-ordering it. I think I'm not exactly sure why I got $1.30 discount. It's a little expensive for an NES, but man, if it solves my NES issues, which is just getting those damn cartridges to work, you know, I got this NES that looks so pristine from Wilson, but man, the cartridges have to have been steam cleaned by Jesus Christ to get them to work. Like the Pope has to bless these cartridges so they're pure enough to work in my NES. You know what I'm saying?
Do you want to know the secret to having the game work without having to do all that?
Mister?
Mm-mm.
What is it?
No, like a non-sarcastic secret.
Yeah.
So I learned this years ago. Obviously, you still want to try to clean off the cartridge as best you can,
Yeah.
right? Obviously, you want a 72-pin connector that's not super loose and it's going to make a decent connection to the cart.
Yeah.
With that being said, you put the cartridge in all the way, you push it down, you hit the start button, it starts blinking, right?
Yeah.
If you take your pincher fingers, your thumb and your pointer finger on both hands, and you start to wiggle the cartridge as it's down just a tiny bit, usually I end up having to go all the way to one side or all the way to the other side, and you'll start seeing the picture blink on the screen,
Mm-hmm.
right? As opposed to like white or black or whatever. If you can get the picture to blink on the screen, you hit reset, done.
Okay.
You just wiggle it
What
while
if you
it's
didn't
down.
have to do that and it only cost you $35? You never have to do that again.
Then perfect. You
Yeah.
have to install it yourself though, don't you?
Yeah, but it's not hard. I mean, NES is
Screws.
like, I don't know, it's like 6 screws to get into that thing. It's super
Screws and a
easy.
ribbon cable, maybe?
Is there?
I'm not sure.
I don't think there is.
I see a ribbon cable in this picture, but I'm not sure if it's
Yeah.
attached.
It's not hard to replace these. I've replaced them not several times. I would say 4 or 5 times. But with like not a ton of like success, honestly. Yeah,
Sure.
so I'll try anything because I really like playing NES games on an NES, especially that one that Wilson made that just looks so damn good. With the he did that RGB conversion for me. Oh my god!
Does that have like the smoke case too, or is that your SNES?
No, it just looks like a regular old NES, but
Mm.
out the back instead of having the RF port, it's got this little. I don't know. It looks like a Super Nintendo video out, and then from there I get pristine
Like S
analog.
video or
No, like a multi AV out that you'd see on the back of a Super Nintendo.
okay.
It's a proprietary connector on.
Yeah,
that
I use
Nintendo
that
used.
connector and then it goes to S video.
I use that connector, but it goes to SCART. But they made several things that go into there.
Yeah, fun fact, the SNES, N64, and GameCube all have that same video connector.
Yeah, but also fun fact, they don't all do the same thing.
Sure. I have a universal S video cable though that I can just switch between the three.
Yeah.
It's nice. So, a couple more stories that I found like right before going live. You can mod your PSP to be 2024 appropriate, like the original PSP, and you can hook up
What does that
it's
mean?
like it's like micro HDMI, so you can play your PSP on your TV.
Oh, okay. This is a hardware mod, so you can get HDMI out.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
Amongst other things, there's like a bunch of other stuff. It has like IPS screen, HDMI mod, and probably a battery mod. I think maybe.
Needs a battery mod because all the batteries for those things puffed up, and if you
Yeah.
didn't get rid of them appropriately, you are living on the edge, my friend.
It's also a really great way to make a little bit of cash is to buy PSPs that are either not working or untested
Mm.
because the people that owned them don't realize that the batteries are the culprit
Hmm.
99% of the time. And so if a PSP is cheap and cosmetically in good shape, odds are you just need a new battery.
Do you have a good source for batteries? Because a lot of the batteries that I've seen are like no-name Chinesium that I'm a
That's
little afraid
basically
of.
no, it's where you're gonna have to get them. I mean, there's US companies that do the same kind of thing, but honestly, the ones that you get from like overseas are generally similar quality,
Well,
unless you want to spend more than $10 a piece for, which then starts to get not as worth it.
what's your favorite game on the PSP?
I mean, I think Lumines is a staple that
That's a weird way to say luminous.
Luminous. I used to call it Luminous. I've heard Lumines.
Yeah.
I actually just got a couple of Atlas PSP games recently.
Oh, are those expensive? I bet they are.
Yeah, they can be. I
What
mean,
are they?
expensive for the PSP is like $100.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, I didn't put these on the pickup. So, Jewel Summoner, which I've never played and didn't know existed, but it's an
oh,
Atlas
okay.
game.
Yeah, that's a
Uh,
cool box. I
so
like it.
this, yeah, it's really. It almost looks like a oh, what do they call those in Halo?
Oh,
Not
the elites.
the Elites. Yeah, it kind of looks like
Yeah.
an Elite to me. And then the other one is Persona 3.
Oh,
Persona
yeah.
3
They
Portable.
just
These
re-released Persona 3 Portable on Switch and
PS
uh,
whatever.
maybe PS, whatever. I'm not sure. I know they did a Switch version though. That's
These are
cool.
coming down in price. These were really high during like
Possibly because they
COVID.
just re-released them on the
Yeah.
Switch.
I'm trying to think of the other games that I actually have played on PSP,
Yeah,
but like Luminous was always. Oh, I liked Hot Shot Golf a lot.
I did too. I think
That
that
was
is my second favorite game. Now that you mention it, I wouldn't have.
yes.
My dummy brain wouldn't have remembered that,
Thought
but
of that
actually I
one.
played a lot of Hot Shot Golf
Yeah,
on
Hot
the
Shots
PSP,
Golf is
and what a
great.
great portable game too, because you could totally just like play a couple holes, suspend it, come back, and like unlocking stuff on that was really fun, like unlocking new characters and everything. Those guys made great golf games,
That was the same. Yeah, that was the same company that did like Mario Golf and stuff
right?
like that too. So
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
But by
And
far, the game I played the most on my PSP was Street Fighter Alpha Max 3, which I know you have a copy of.
I do, yeah.
And I still have my copy of it. And that game, man, I played so much of that game, and it's never been ported to a non-handheld system.
It's
But it
not
would
it's
be
not
kind of
expensive on the PSP either.
no,
It's
it's
like
not, not at
10,
all.
10, $15.
But it's like it's this unicorn because it's like the best version of Street Fighter Alpha 3, but it's only on the PSP. It's only on a portable system. So actually, if you HDMI modded your PSP, who's your father? We now have we now have an Alpha 3 Max that's on the big screen. Wasn't there don't I think I have cables though for my PSP that were high definition. But it was like pre HDMI. What were those called? Component cables?
Component, yeah.
Yeah. I think I have that, but it made a smaller image on the screen. It didn't fill the screen. It was dumb.
Yeah, it is weird.
I
It's
remember
like a
playing like some God
resolution
of War
cap or something.
game, and I was like, "What? It doesn't fill the screen?"
I mean, like, think about all the different franchises that are on PSP. You have,
Yeah.
like, Final Fantasy, Grand Theft Auto, so many
Yep.
good JRPGs, Metal Gear Solid, there's a bunch of games.
Yeah,
Mega Man has
those
some games on
stories
there.
games, the Grand Theft Auto Stories games, weren't they like unique games just for the
Vice City
PSP?
Stories and stuff. Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe so. Those are still, I mean, they're still, they hold some value.
PSP was kind of a banger console. It just kind of like, I don't know, just overshadowed by Nintendo stuff, but had some great games.
I mean, they sold a shit ton of those PSPs.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Not as many as like a Switch, but
Not nearly as many as Switch.
I mean, it's up there. It's up there. It's like top 10 or top 15, I
Wow.
think, probably. Yeah, I don't know.
Um, do you have one of those? Do you remember when they did the PSP Portable that didn't have the disc drive, but had
Yeah, I
that
have a
cool
couple.
like slider thing?
I
That
do
was
have
so
one
sick.
now. I didn't have one then because I thought digital only, that's dumb.
I still think that, Jay.
Unless,
Digital only, that's dumb.
yeah, the only thing that people used it for was an emulation machine, which
Okay, it's
it does
so
a good
good.
job.
Yeah, the
It does
PSP
a
is a
good
good
job.
emulator.
Yeah.
I
But I
modded
mean,
I modded my PS Vita, and it was just a little too much. Like it was just a little too hard to keep it going all the time to really be a good emulation machine for me.
well, the UI on the Vita is not my favorite.
Well, it's not
Like,
my
it's
favorite either.
basically like a sideways iPhone screen, you know what I mean? Like, it's got all the little icons, and you gotta swipe page to page to
Yeah.
it's not my it wasn't my favorite. Anyways, but I do like the Vita. I still like the Vita. I think the Vita is better than the 3DS, in my opinion,
Then the
as
3DS.
as far as, like, a handheld console. I was never into the 3D gimmicky thing. It gives me a headache. The screens on a 3DS or a DS are small, you know what I mean? Like, it's wasting real
Yeah, I always
estate.
like the giant version of the DS or the 3DS. Like that's always the one I waited for. I got the
I
big
yeah,
boy
it's just so big to hold in your hands, though.
oven mitts, brother.
The Vita, I will say, like, the screen was better, but the joystick and the shoulder buttons were not great on
The
the Vita.
Vita, the
So,
screen was way better,
yeah, screen
but unfortunately, they got rid of the OLED screen in like the second version of the Vita, but they
sure.
way improved the ergonomics of the thing. So that's
Mhm.
ended up being the one that I used all the time because it was so much more comfortable to
Slim,
hold.
yeah,
Yeah. But I didn't play my Vita nearly as much as I played my PSP or
sure.
my
Well, I mean, I think
3DS.
that could have been a stage of the times, you know what I mean? Like, the Vita came out, whatever, it was 2005,
Yeah.
2006. Think about age and how much you're traveling or whatever. I was way more into handhelds when I was a kid because just I was always traveling or on the road or whatever, so
I think I play more handhelds now than I ever did between the Switch and the Steam Deck.
well, it's because you take longer shits now, you know?
That's true. I do take very long shits
Uh,
now.
Got him. The
Tell
last
me about
story is
Retro
really
Fighter's new controller.
yeah, so it's really not all that interesting, but I thought it was kinda cool. So they are coming out with a new, like, GameCube/Wii/Wii U controller,
Okay.
and it looks like man, it looks like their N64 controller, like the shape of it, right? It's kind of like a
Yeah.
almost like a Switch Pro controller
Yeah.
shape, but it's got the GameCube joysticks
Yeah.
and buttons.
Yeah. Interesting. It's a
It's
provocative
interesting.
design, I would say.
It is. What are your thoughts on the GameCube plastic joystick?
Um the C one or the one
No, the gray
which
one.
one? The gray one? I never had a problem with it, honestly. I never had
It
a
has
problem with
the,
it.
like it has the, like, target circles to add
Yeah.
some texture.
Like
The C
playing it, I never cared that it was plastic. I was fine with it.
it's funny because the C joystick is, like, rubberized, at least the
Yeah,
GameCube
but
one
that's like
was.
almost like a IBM nub, right? It's like hardly
Yeah,
a
it was
joystick.
smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I never really had a problem with the GameCube controller. It's a odd design. It doesn't like it's definitely non-standard, but it's definitely got Nintendo written all over it. And I would say
yeah,
it's a huge step forward from the N64 controller.
for sure. I think the only thing that I don't like about the GameCube controller, I wasn't a big fan of the X and Y buttons being a different shape. Kind of
The
that
kidney
like
beans, the jelly bean shape.
there
Yeah,
yeah, there's that, and I wasn't a big fan of the shoulder buttons, the, like, really deep, wide, gray shoulder buttons, you know what I'm talking about? And they had,
yeah,
like a squeak to them
yeah.
almost.
Spring
It
under
always
them. Yeah,
yeah, it always felt like they were, like, I don't know, not very efficient
mm.
in their motion.
I liked it. I
Um,
played a lot of GameCube when it was new, and the controller never bothered me. I played a lot of like Resident Evil 4 and Eternal Darkness and all sorts of good games on that dang thing.
I think the only I played, I
Metroid
never
Prime.
owned one. I never owned one, like, in
Never
it
owned a
was I was in
GameCube?
college at the time, but we
Oh,
had a
sure.
friend who had one, and we played a lot of Double Dash. That was the game that we
Yes.
played a lot of.
Yeah.
Um, More than anything else, definitely Double Dash, because I had an Xbox, and that was around the same time that, like, Halo 2 came out, you know? So,
Yes. Yes. I was
I mean,
definitely
within a couple of
playing a
years
lot of Halo
anyways.
2, but Metroid Prime, I was all over Metroid Prime. I was all over Eternal Darkness. Uh, you know when I ended up I didn't end up finishing Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube. I ended up buying it again on the Wii and
Mm,
using like the Wii controller
mhm.
to
Oh,
play
yeah,
it and
that's way better.
loving it. It was so much
Yeah,
fun with the Wii
and they
controller to
had gun
aim.
attachments and stuff that you could
It was I didn't have any of that, but I loved it on the Wii. I should try and find that again on the Wii. Is that an expensive game, Resident Evil 4 on the
nope,
Wii?
nope, to
I should
10 or $15 probably.
I'd rather play that than the remake, honestly. That was so
Get
much
you
fun.
a gun accessory.
I remember my mother came over for lunch and I showed it to her. She's like, "That's amazing." And she started playing.
Zombies!
Yeah,
Murder!
she was loving that game.
The Wii was the great equalizer when it comes to games because it was a lot easier to
Yeah,
explain, like, point thing, hit button, do stuff on screen. Got it.
yeah. I ended up you remember how hard it was to get a Wii when it first launched?
Huh?
I ended up getting one. She was running a group home and I ended up like she asked me to try and get one cuz she knew like I would, core competency, right? Like, hey, my son's a nerd. He probably knows about
Yeah,
that.
right, right.
So I ended up like working real hard to get the group home a Wii, and I finally did get it, and I got it for retail price, which was not easy to do because
No,
that was
I spent like 20% over.
yeah. I mean that's even a good price. I mean the people were putting them on eBay for like double the price, similar to like the PlayStation 5 this time around. But I feel like it was going on for longer. But anywho, I ended up bringing that to the group home, setting it up, and I played with the residents and my mother. We were playing bowling and tennis all night. I was supposed to be there
Mhm,
for
mhm,
15
mhm.
minutes to set up this Wii U and get the fuck out. And I was there all night. I was like, I probably shouldn't bring beer in here, but this feels like a beer opportunity.
I was I was the guy, right? So I was living with a couple of buddies who were going to school at the time, college, and I wasn't. And so I was working and, making some decent money as a single dude living with three other
Yes.
guys. And so I was the one with the 42-inch plasma TV. We're talking like
Oh yeah.
2006. So I had that. I had
That
like
was
an
expensive
Xbox.
TV in 2006.
It was like yeah, I bought it. It was like $1,700 or something like that. Um, and then yeah, I bought the Wii off Craigslist from a guy. I think it might have been like 350.
Yeah.
It was somewhere between 300 to 350. I remember meeting him in a Best Buy parking lot or something, and just like taking that home. And so I was the guy. Yeah. So if we ever had get-togethers, people would come over and lots of drinking
Oh
and
yeah.
Wii bowling and
Dude,
stuff.
Wii was
Yeah,
such a fun like party
yeah,
console. That
100%.
that existed in the same time period too as Rock Band did, which was
Mhm.
another really fun like kind of party like video game.
That was a
Oh
couple of
man,
years later, but yeah.
the same appropriate approximate time.
Well, it was like a completely different phase for me because I lived in Washington during the Wii stuff, and then
Mm.
a year or 2 later, I moved down to Portland and then I was the Rock Band guy, so
I
everybody
was
would
an
come over
adult,
and
and
we'd play Rock Band.
all adulthood has just blended together.
Yeah. It was like a distinct phase for me.
Yeah, I remember
So
bars used to have Rock Band night, like instead of karaoke night. It's
really?
crazy. Yeah. Hmm.
Sounds expensive. Rock Band stuff's going for a pretty penny now.
Yeah,
to
you
be
couldn't
honest.
get rid of it. You couldn't sell it.
Uh,
Like game stores wouldn't take it.
yeah.
I
Yep.
still have my Rock Band set up. It's in my closet right over there.
I sold mine because I was like, I hadn't been using it forever, but yeah, I'm a little regretting it now. Had the drum set in box and guitars in box and everything.
Yeah, the drum set was the best. I
I'm
love
gonna
the drum
regret
set.
that later.
They're making new stuff. I think or at least a new guitar is coming out.
It makes sense. I do have an electric drum set now that I could theoretically play Rock Band on the electric
Oh,
drum
that's
set.
probably even better.
Yeah, would be for me too. Yeah.
Journey
To Terminator.
to Terminator to Silius. Yeah, this game would have been so much cooler if it was a Terminator game. Because that, to me, is like the biggest downfall of this game is that I just don't care. Like, there's nothing going on the screen that I care about. Like, it's just so uninteresting. The first level's
Sure.
kind of cool because it's got this, like, futuristic vibe. The first level is the coolest part of this game, honestly. It's like, you
can
drop
play
into
you
the
can play
first
this
level.
you can play this on the Switch online, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There you go.
You jump into the first level of this game. You've seen what you need to see. That's the coolest level. It's got this like super like post-apocalyptic Terminator, like futuristic Terminator aesthetic, man. It's like totally that. But the main character, nothing. You get nothing out of the main character. You get nothing out of the bad guys. The intro for this game is like so. It sets up this mystery that the game never follows through on. There's no cutscenes past like the intro of this game. The gameplay is serviceable, but not exciting. You know, like people compare this game to like a Mega Man or something like that, but I'm like, it's like that, but not as fun. I
Sure.
don't
Well,
know.
you can't charge your weapons or whatever, right? So
Yeah, but jumping doesn't feel quite as good. Shooting doesn't feel quite as
slippery.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's just kind of like, I mean, it's fine. It's not like bad. Like if this game was a Terminator game, I'd be like, this is the best Terminator game, except for RoboCop versus Terminator, which obviously is the GOAT.
You want to know what it does have though?
But
The music.
the music is good. The music is good.
Great music.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, this game was supposed to be a Terminator game.
It was. During the development of the game, which I believe they were developing this game for a couple of years,
Yeah.
the license expired like during the development and they just couldn't re-up it because the speculation was it was getting so close to the release of Terminator 2 that they didn't want to release a Terminator
Oh,
1
interesting.
game right before the Terminator
That's
2
so
movie.
short-sighted. I would have loved to play this. If this had the Terminator written on it, I would have definitely gotten it. I would have definitely
Like,
rented it from Blockbuster.
by the time this game was ready to release, I'm pretty sure Terminator 2 movie was like coming out. So it just didn't make sense from like a business asset.
So
launch
call it Terminator
perspective.
2.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. How many Terminator games are there though that are just
Not
not
enough.
good?
Oh,
There's
too
the
many.
arcade game that's good.
The arcade
There's the
game was
arcade
good.
game that's good.
The home port of that is not as
Okay.
good because the stupid guns at home never work as good as the guns in the arcade.
True. It's true.
But you get the point of it. There's the Sega CD Terminator game that's pretty fun. I like that game. It's difficult, but it's fun. What else is there? There's RoboCop versus Terminator, but technically
Yeah.
you're RoboCop in that game fighting Terminators. What else is there? Oh, there's that new Terminator game that came out for the PS4. That was pretty good.
Sure.
Actually, there's some good Terminator games now that I'm thinking about it.
I think he's rose-colored glassing it right now.
I don't like this look on you. Jealousy is a... I don't know. That PS4 game wasn't bad. And they're the
haven't
same
played
people who
it.
made that RoboCop game last year. Remember? That got pretty good reviews.
What kind of game is the PS4 game?
It's a first-person shooter. You're in the post-apocalyptic world.
Oh, right. Okay. I do remember that now.
Yeah, I think they actually came out with a PS5 version of it, too. And a PC version. Terminator stuff is cool.
It is. Did you ever watch the early 2000s TV remake of it? Yeah, I enjoyed that. I don't remember what it's called.
Was it Sarah Connor?
Yes, she was like the main protagonist. Yeah.
But isn't she now a famous actress? The same lady?
Probably.
I can't remember. I should go ask my wife because Oh
Was it
yeah,
like
that's
Terminator
so and
Judgment or
so who
something
was
like
in this
that?
and that. Yeah, that was a cool show. It was only
Yeah.
like 2 seasons long though. It got canceled pretty quickly.
Yeah, I do remember that too. All of my favorite shows from back then would get canceled too early.
Yeah.
Too many
Yeah.
of them.
Oh, the same girl from Firefly was in Terminator. She was the Terminator, right?
I'm starting. Maybe. It's been a long time.
Also canceled too soon. Firefly.
Yes. Yeah, and I didn't even watch that
That's a
until
hot
almost
take.
10 years after it was released, yeah.
Never heard anybody say that before, right? Firefly was
No,
canceled too
no,
soon.
never. That and Battlestar Galactica, good shows.
Yeah. The first one or the second one?
The
The remake?
our age one.
Yeah, that was a good show. Kind of, I don't know. It lost me a little at the end. Like I kept watching, but I wasn't as into it.
Sure. Got a little like not evangelical. I don't know the word that I'm thinking of, but it was just kind of like theoretical, weird. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
it wasn't
remember.
as
It was a
grounded.
long time ago, but it was
Yeah,
good though.
true.
Mostly, I like the old one
Most.
too.
I never watched the old one.
Yeah,
Wasn't Starbuck in the old one a dude?
yeah,
That was the like
he
whole
was
big
cool too.
thing.
He was also in the A Team, and in the A Team introduction, they had a Cylon in the introduction for the A Team.
Hmm.
The TV show, not the movie. The movie A Team is an underrated movie,
No,
and you
I
should go
haven't
watch
watched
that.
either. All I know about the A Team is
You
that
never
Mr.
watched the A
T was
Team?
on it. Too young.
Wow, you should watch an episode of the A Team.
Wasn't it like wasn't early 80s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, every episode was somebody was getting like the local mob or local crime lord was fucking with some like small town farmer or something out in like the hills of California, and the A Team had to come in and build some wild shit and get B.A. Baracus on a plane and dun, 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 dun.
Da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da.
Yeah, that show was kick ass when I was like 5 years old. It was like the best show ever. Faceman was Starbuck. Anyway, we
Okay.
have journeyed to Silius.
This
I
is
feel
another
like-
one of those.
I feel like this conversation shows how much we care about this game.
Yeah, I mean, this game was the amount of times that I've played the first level of this game as a kid. It's wild. Because
Yeah.
I remember renting it a few times and I could never really get past the first level.
Yeah.
If I did, it wasn't very far.
I have done the same thing. I don't think I ever did it when I was young, but as an adult, I've seen this game. I'm like, oh, this was going to be a Terminator game. I'm so into this. And then I checked it out and I'm like, oh, this is like the first level is really cool looking, but really hard. And then I watched How to Beat Video Games. Hang on. How to Beat Video Games, and he's like, you can beat this shit in half an hour, dude. And I'm like, okay, I'll give that a shot. And that's what I did.
Did it work out? Did you beat it
Oh,
in
yeah.
half an hour?
Oh yeah, it was really. I didn't beat it in half an hour. I watched his half an hour video
Oh, okay.
showing me how to beat it. It probably took me an hour because I had to watch him do it, and then I did it, and it was pretty simple. Because you got like different weapons in this game. You got to save your ammo pretty religiously, and it's one of those where you got to just kind of memorize enemies, like where they pop out and where you got to be on the screen. No, not very complicated.
This is another one of those games where Sunsoft built it under a shell corp called Tokai Engineering.
Oh, it doesn't say
It's
Sunsoft
also the-
on it?
Yeah, it does, but I don't really understand all the bits and pieces of it, but Sunsoft published it. So, but the developer or something, one or the other, basically, Tokai Engineering is the team that did it, and it's also the same team that did Blaster Master and Super Spy Hunter. So I thought that was kind of fun.
Okay.
You can tell, I can tell by the music for sure.
Yeah.
In
Yeah, it
the
doesn't super feel like other Sunsoft games to me.
no,
Like this
The
doesn't feel
handling is
like
very
anything like
blurry.
Batman or Blaster
No.
Master. Whereas like Blaster Master and Fester's Quest feel like exactly the same game with different graphics. Batman, I guess, is an anomaly. Batman feels so tight though. It's like just
It
so
does.
fun to play. This game, I don't know. It's fine.
It's fine. I think the most interesting. I think they had to change a bunch of stuff in the game, like right towards the end after they lost the license. So
Like the story that doesn't exist at all. Like they set up this thing with like well, the terrorist attack killed my father, but the news is reporting that it was an accident. Why would the news cover up a terrorist report or attack? And why wouldn't the terrorists take credit for attacking? Isn't that the whole point, is to create terror? Let's just leave this thread to flap in the breeze because we're never going to talk about it for the rest of the game. I don't know. The last boss looks like a
Terminator,
Cinemax like rip off like late night movie version of the Terminator, right? Like a low budget. Like if there was like a Terminator like porn movie, this was the robot.
It exists, Briar. Don't ask me how I know that.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does.
What do you think about in the U.S. his helmet's off, and then in Japan and Europe it's on?
I don't think about that at all. I didn't know that until you just told me that.
Game changing, Briar.
Well, now I gotta get the Japanese version. Thanks a lot.
Right?
I'm sure it'd make all the difference to me in the world.
And in Japan, I don't know. It said RAF World, but then some people said it said something else. I don't know.
Okay.
RAF World.
Does that mean something?
I don't know.
Like, this is somebody's favorite game, and I want to respect that for you. Like, you really like this game, and I'm cool with that, right? Like, this game has like a really cool aesthetic. I think some of the graphics are really good. Some of them are, I feel like, had to be changed quickly. From like, these used to be Terminators, and now they're this dude.
Some of the enemies remind me of, those little things in like the TMNT arcade game, the little
the
like,
little
robot dog
mousers
things that like jump around and
the little white
and,
robots with like totally
fuckers.
yeah, absolutely. Also, like, there's obviously what used to be like a hunter killer flying robot that now is just like this green blobby helicopter, and like some of the, again, that first level looks so cool, and then it never follows up like anything as cool as that. Like a lot of it's just like green. Here's some green blocks that you're gonna run through.
You spend 3 years developing that first level and the last boss.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But if you want to beat it, man, seriously, I know I plug this guy a lot, but I really do like his channel. It's How to Beat Video Games. He does great videos. He really breaks shit down for you. And some of this stuff, like when we did Fester's Quest, like some of this stuff is so obscure. And like, like even the manual doesn't really like explain the stuff really that well, because that's a translation from Japanese, and like, again, it's really helpful, especially if you don't want to spend like the next like 2 months of your life trying to figure out how to beat Journey to Silius. You just want to like, how do I beat this game? How do I play this game? He's really good at it. Nice. And he's got like some tricks. Like, did you know that if you hit the B button 30 times on the title screen and then start, you get a music player, and you can choose how many continues you get. 30 times.
What if you do 31?
Fuck you.
I can't count that high.
All right. Next episode's Game Jam. It's my turn to pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a little bit out of left field. It's a little odd for this show, but I think it's really relevant to what's going on in the world right now. I'd like to pick Fallout, which is a PC game from the 90s. It's relevant because, the Fallout TV show just came out. It's also cheap. It's available on Steam for about $10. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
You want to check that out?
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
When did that game come out?
90. I want to say 97. I think that qualifies as retro. We're definitely doing video games from the 90s.
Oh man, the isometric one.
Yeah, it's the old one, but it's a pretty quick game. It's not that long. If you want to beat it like on your own, It'd be like 20 hours. I wouldn't actually expect you to do that. If you want to do a walkthrough or something, it'd be a lot shorter than that. Or if you just want to get the gist of it by playing the beginning of it, I think that's fine too. But you know, the Fallout TV show is so popular right now. I really like that Fallout TV show. I haven't played the original Fallout in many, many years. So I was just looking for an excuse to go back to it, and I figured I'd download the Steam version. I might own it actually, the Steam version. And check it out. So it's a little out of left field. It's not a console game. I think this is the first time we've done a PC game. But I think it qualifies as retro, and I think it would make a good addition to the show.
Sure. Awesome. I don't think I've ever played it, so could be fun.
I think it will be. All right, I'll add it to the list.
Yes. I gotta see, like, I was a member of the Humble Bundle subscription for years.
Oh yeah.
And I just didn't like use the keys that they sent me. So there's probably a copy of this buried somewhere.
This is definitely the kind of thing that would be
in my
there.
subscription.
Yeah. This
So
is totally something like that be in there. But with the release of the TV show, did you watch that TV show by any
I've
chance?
heard good things. I haven't started it yet.
Yeah, it's real good. Have you played the Fallout games? Any of them?
I've played Fallout 3 for a few hours. Then I played like Fallout 76 for a handful of hours.
Wow, Fallout 76. I've never checked out Fallout 76. I've heard it's
when
a
it
lot
first
better
came
than
out. I
used to be,
tried it.
yeah.
So basically, my thing about Fallout that I have trepidation with is that I get FOMO when I play games. So when I'm playing a game that has so many branching quests and
Ooh,
side quests and things
I
like
see.
that, I start to get overwhelmed, and I just kind of put it down because I'm like, I can't leave quests undone, but I don't feel like I can do all the quests.
Yeah, no, you can't in those games. Like some quests will, like, kind of force the exclusion of other quests.
Yeah.
Like there's different factions in Fallout games that if you start talking to one faction, the other faction will get mad at you and start shooting at you.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
yeah. Maybe the original Fallout game will be a little bit more simple from my mind.
Maybe.
Maybe. We'll see.
Go find that water chip, Jay. Get your ass out the vault and find that water chip.
Water chip.
The water chip.
The water chip.
Jay, you got any pickups? I got no pickups this
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I actually put this in the box, but I just saw it on the shelf, and I figured I should probably show it. I haven't showed this yet, right?
Bad dudes.
Like, talk about, just precipice of NES.
I remember seeing that in the store when I was a kid and being like, that looks so fucking lame. And now as an adult, I'm like, that looks so fucking cool.
Really?
Dude, I thought it looked so lame. It looked like it was just so try hard when I was a kid, but now it looks so good.
Wow. Wow. You're like, that's too meta, bro.
Nobody said that word when I was a kid.
It's too mainstream, bro.
I don't know. It just looked lame. I can't explain
like
it. Like
dad's idea of cool back in the 80s.
That's what it should say is dad dudes.
Just like put them in greasy,
right? They got their New Balances on.
Crocs.
With their jorts.
Yeah, because he's like kicking a dude and make that a croc,
Yeah. And they definitely wearing jean shorts. He just got out of his Corvette.
Listen, my dream car's a Corvette, Briar.
Hey, it's good to have dreams.
I'm getting close to it was originally in the 90s, it was a Stingray Corvette was my dream car.
Like the old split back ones from the 60s?
Yeah.
I
really liked the waves over the wheels, the wheel wells.
Yeah.
But now as an adult, like the new design of the Corvette,
the mid-engine badass,
so
that car is
good.
Awesome.
It looks so angry, and I love it. I probably will never own one unless I become a multimillionaire because I can't justify the.
You could probably sell. They're not that expensive. They're like $60,000.
That's expensive.
Well,
Listen,
Not
I'm
for
still
new cars, it's
driving.
not.
I'm still driving a 2005 Mazda 3
Yeah,
that's been paid off for over a decade, and my wife is
I get
driving a
you.
2012 Prius that's been paid off for over a decade. So, the thought of adding a car payment
I
when we're
get
looking
you.
for a new
I
house,
get you.
and yeah.
You can buy like a American car that costs as much as my first house. American, like not even like a German car, like
Yeah.
an American ass car that costs as much as my first house.
I don't know if that's saying more about the car or the house, to be honest.
Well, the house was not expensive, but I mean, I took a 30-year mortgage out on that thing.
Yeah.
you know?
I have a bin, and this is not even a quarter of the stuff that I've gotten in the
All
last
right.
month.
Well, let's go over the highlights.
Yes. So basically, it kind of goes back to the story, right? So somebody bought a collection from an estate without knowing the value of the stuff. So I this person on eBay, as I was doing, was selling stuff, and I uh saw something go because it said reserved for such and such. And when something's reserved, I respect that. I'm not gonna like complicate something by like trying to buy it and be like, I bought it, it's mine. No, if it's reserved, good on that person, yada yada. But what I always do is I'll message the seller if the thing that's reserved is good, and I'll be like, hey, you got anything else by chance? You got any other stuff that's not spoken for? So I did that, but basically the a lot of stuff that was reserved was like $1,000 is what they paid, but it was like $4,000 worth of stuff easy. And it was like it was only like a dozen games, but they were like super heavy hitters. And so I immediately reached out to this person, and they started just sending me floods of pictures. Like,
Oh,
here's all
nice.
the stuff that I have, hundreds of games, and basically said that their 80-year-old ex-husband wants to sell everything. I got more into the story. Apparently, the woman's writing a book about it, but the guy's house like flooded and like all this, that, and the other. And apparently, they threw out a bunch of stuff because it was just like water wrecked and all this kind of stuff. But anyways, moral of the story. I basically told her roughly the amount of percentage of value that I'll be able to offer her, and she just started sending me pictures, and I just sent her offers, and she's like, "Great, perfect, done. Just get out of my house. I don't want to deal with this anymore." So I got a box yesterday with 62 games. Some of them are just empty boxes, some of them are game and box, but 62 boxes, and probably at about 40 to 40-ish percent of market value, probably on average. And so just trying to get as much as I can for that, really. And we'll start with a few DS games. I don't have a huge DS collection, but this 80-year-old man loved his handhelds. So we got Dragon Quest 6. That's a $100 game. Dokapon Journey. That's a $150 game. And then Suikoden. I don't know how to Tierkreis. Tierkreis. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Nice. I didn't
So
know
those are the DS
they made a
games.
Suikoden for the DS.
Yeah, yeah,
They're making a new one of those, aren't they? A new Suikoden game?
probably. I mean, they have Suikoden 5 for PS2. Has there been any since then?
I don't think so.
No. Okay. Well, so there's these, and then I'll just try to go quickly through some of this stuff. Breath of Fire. This is actually one that I was trying to get recently. This was on my want list because I have Breath of Fire 2 complete in box for GBA. This is the first one. This is basically the SNES version in a GBA form for the most part, from the same person. I'll call out if something is not from this collection because some of the stuff in here is not from the collection. Pugsley's Scavenger Hunt, which is an expensive card. This doesn't have the manual, but like the condition of most of this stuff, the 80-year-old ex-husband, you can tell that he's like the original owner on a lot of this.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of it's in really good shape. But it does look like they stacked stuff on top because there's just like bowing on the corners and stuff like this, which usually is an indication that they stack things vertically, which makes me a little sad. Jaws for the NES. This is complete in box. It is not the 5-screw version for anybody in the know. The 5-screw version of this game is worth lots and lots of money. I've never played Jaws for the NES.
Me neither.
This will be one of
I
Briar's
bet it
favorites, probably.
sucks. Hell yeah, that game is awesome. That's not
RoboCop for
awesome.
the NES,
That
the
game is
original one.
passable, but it's got RoboCop in it, so that makes it cooler.
Funny, there's 3 RoboCop games, I believe, for the NES, which is wild.
Yeah.
Or at least 2, maybe not 3.
I have the first 2. I think the third one might be expensive. Is that right?
I can't remember.
Okay. That game is RoboCop 1 for the NES is weird because it's almost like maze-like. It's kind of hard to parse. And I remember being very confused by it when I was a kid.
Gotcha. I haven't played it. Actually, you know what? I probably have played it as a kid, but it's been 30 years.
Yeah.
Rampage for the NES, which I didn't have this in the collection yet. Surprisingly, this is not from the same collector. I bought some other cheaper games from somebody.
That's one of the first NES games I ever played, and I loved it.
Great.
Not the version of Rampage I would go back to now, but was very happy when I was a kid playing.
We need to add this to our list at some point. I think it'd be a good game to go back and play.
If we do that, I think we should just add Rampage in general, so we can play like all the versions of Rampage. Because you play Rampage,
there's so many though.
You play 30 seconds of Rampage and you know what you got, right? It's not like it's not a deep dive game, but it'd be fun to like go through as many as you can find and play like like 16-bit, 32-bit, because they still make Rampage games now.
Yeah, they do. Ice Climber, which is a black box game that I did not own. Complete in box. I think this is a later print. Yeah, no, I have the majority of the black box games complete in box, but there's a handful that I don't have. This is one of the ones I didn't have.
I don't think I've ever played that game.
Ice Climber, I haven't either. This is an interesting one. Conquest of the Crystal Palace. The box art on this is really cool. I don't know. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I think it's a platforming game, it looks like. But look at the size of the bosses on the back. The sprites, they're giant.
Wow, look at that. Asmic. I've never heard of Asmic.
I've heard of it. But I haven't played it before.
Ah, cool.
Monster Party for the NES. Complete in box.
What a great cover that is. Oh, and they just put the same exact picture of the cover on the back of the box.
Yeah, yeah. This is like all the, it's got Medusa and whatever, the guy, the water guy, and
Dracula.
Pretty cool. This next one's a heavy hitter for the NES, Ghost Lion.
Oh, I've never heard of that. Look at that box art.
Babylicious.
Oh my god, that's the most 80s fucking outfit I've ever seen.
It's like Fabio with a sports bra.
That's amazing. I love it. I don't know what that game is, but I love
what was the tiger tamer guys? What were their names?
Oh, Siegfried and Roy.
Yeah, Siegfried. You got Siegfried and Roy's white tiger.
Yeah,
I think this is an RPG though.
Is it?
This is an RPG. But I didn't even have the cart of this, so I've been looking. It's $100+ cart. This is a $200 to $300 CIB. Wow. I didn't have it, and I paid like 40% of. I was pretty happy with that. Going to the SNES stuff. Aerobiz Supersonic. This is the more expensive Aerobiz game. It doesn't have the manual. Most of the SNES stuff was without manual, unfortunately, but we priced it accordingly. Boxes are in really good shape. It's one of the things, like, other than a couple of dings and whatnot, but I was very happy with the condition of this stuff. An Atlas soccer game. World Soccer 94, Road to Glory. This is an expensive soccer game for the SNES because it's made by Atlas. I just don't think they made very many of them. Again, this is just cart and box. But
I wonder if it was a game that never got released in America. It was like a European game. They just decided to port it. Or
this?
Import it. Yeah.
This is a US.
No, what I mean is isn't that what a lot of what Atlas did was they took games that didn't get released in America and just released them?
I have no idea. Could be right. How do you pronounce this?
Inindo.
Way of the Ninja? Yeah. So this, I think this actually...
Inindo.
No, it has the poster and the registration card, but no manual. So again, really good shape. I just have to find the manual. I've seen this before.
Have you?
Our local I think this is an RPG. Looks like a top-down RPG,
Oh,
Dragon
interesting.
Warrior style.
Cool. I wonder if it's any good.
So we got Arcana, which again, I think this looks like a Shadowgate type game,
Mm-hmm.
like one of those old school RPG like first person type games. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
So
definitely remember that one being out.
a lot of these are really kind of uncommon. This is a couple $100 probably. And Indo's like 100, I think. I didn't I missed this one. I forgot this one. Figured you'd like
Gilligan's
seeing that.
Island. They made a Gilligan's Island NES game.
Look, and they just basically took like actual pictures from the show. They look how weirdly pale they look.
It looks like they took the black and white. They took like
Oh, they
images
colorized it.
ripped off the
Yeah.
black and white and then colorized it Ted Turner style.
Yeah.
It looks awful. And
It's Bandai.
it looks so awful though, similar to White Lion. Like, I love it.
Yeah. Ghost Lion. Ghost Lion.
Ghost Lion.
And then the last one. This is the holy grail of holy grails for Genesis. Do you know what game this is?
I had no idea.
It's the top rare. It's an Atlas game. Rare, expensive game for Genesis. You have no
Oh,
idea.
is it that Zelda looking game? What's it called? What is that called? Oh, Crusaders Ascenti. Yeah. No, I've played that game, but I know it's expensive.
It is complete
So,
in boxed. I put it in an NES case. It fit.
yeah. People do
But
love that game.
I've never played it. It looks dope. Actually, on the back, it's like RPG.
Yeah, it's a
Like
Zelda clone.
almost looks like a Chrono Trigger or something.
Yeah, it's an action adventure, more like Zelda.
Okay. But this I think I offered, I mean, because I just offered a price for the whole lot, right? I think
Yeah.
I ended up pricing this out at 400.
Uh-huh.
Goes for about 3 times that.
Wow.
Um, yeah, the cart is between 4 and 5, I think. And the insert that holds the cart is a little beat up, but the actual everything else is in mint shape, like the cartridge, the
That
manual,
we
everything.
should pick that one show because that game is good.
I
And
mean, it is. I'm pretty sure this is the most valuable Genesis game that exists.
I would think so.
Sure.
That makes sense.
Now I have to like look it up.
And I've
What's
only
your
put
question?
like a couple of I put like an hour into it one time, but I didn't even get like through the beginning, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I love Zelda games so much. I'd love to check it out more.
yeah. The Senti is number 1 and Musha is number 2 for Genesis.
Musha,
I don't
yeah.
have that one. So I would never have thought that I'd be able to get that game in that condition for that price.
Yeah,
And
that's sick.
it's nice when you can find somebody who just wants stuff gone, and you can be. Whenever I find somebody like that, my priority is to be responsive, pay quickly, don't sweat small stuff if something isn't perfect condition. Like, you win some, you lose some, but yeah, so I'm currently working on potentially buying the rest of everything. But
Oh,
this
nice.
was the good stuff from the collection. The rest of it's kind of the like lower stuff, but
Okay.
yeah. Biggest collection deal I've done with one seller before. So
Nice.
cool.
All right, Jay. Next week we got Fallout.
Fallout.
Next episode, Fallout. Fallout.
Fallout.
I'm looking forward to it. I haven't played this game in a while, so I'm definitely looking forward to this. I can't remember how deep I got into it. I don't think I've ever finished it. But there is a timer on this game. So
Oh,
you have to like it's one of those like you can't just like grind forever on these rats at the beginning. You got to move along, son.
I mean, in a way that's smart. So what happens if you don't do it fast enough?
And the whole quest is to get the water chip for the vault that you're staying in. Otherwise,
Mhm.
everybody else is gonna die of thirst. So I suppose that's what the timer is. How long everybody's got before they desiccate.
So basically, if you don't get it, you have to go fuck yourself. Got it.
No, I mean you're fine. You're out where there's plenty of
Yeah,
water.
but you got nobody else to fuck, so.
No, there's plenty of people around. They got ghouls. They got mutants.
Oh, just not the people from your vault.
Just people from your vault. They're all
Oh, so
dried up.
okay.
They died of dehydration.
Eh. I'm just kidding.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next episode. Hopefully 2 weeks from today. Thank y'all.
Hopefully.
Bye.
Bye.